Jimmy was not a rapper then.
Right.
He was your man, like on this.
50 Cent just won't let those informant rumors about Jim Jones rest. He's spinning the block again, stirring pure chaos and dragging Jimmy right through the dirt with what he's calling receipts. Loud moves, slick timing, and a little bit of that signature 50 showmanship. If you've been keeping up with the blogs and street chatter, you already know. Jim Jones has been dodging those snitch whispers for years.
My heart on my sleeve. I cry a lot of shit like that. I'm very emotional. So when people talk about me, I gotta stand up for me because nobody else gonna stand up for me, as you see. You heard? I fight all my battles on my own. I take losses and I take my wins the same way. You heard? The same smirk, just like.
It all blew up when his name got tangled in that Tekashi 6ix9ine trial. Everything went crazy after a wiretap came out where he was allegedly talking about moves against 6ix9ine. But when the feds crashed down on the 9 Trey Bloods, somehow Jimmy just walked off untouched. That's when people started raising eyebrows, whispering like, how did he get caught on tape talking heavy gang business but never face one single charge? The streets never forgot, and clearly, neither did 50. Now things are really heating up. Cam'ron and Jim Jones are already caught in a wild online war, throwing subs, dropping direct shots, and turning the timeline into a full-blown battlefield. And just when Jimmy probably thought the chaos couldn't get any worse, the king of petty himself, 50 Cent, popped up again with what he's calling new receipts.
I'm in the game still rapping at a high capacity. If Nas wants to smoke, come in the booth. I will rap circles around.
Smoke. He enjoying that 150 million, 200 million he done made.
Okay then, so then leave me alone while I'm on the field.
You was effing with him.
According to 50, Jim's been playing double agent, allegedly working as a quiet federal informant for years, even helping out the same system that took down his own crew. 50 came in bold, saying, "We like Jimmy, but here's the truth." That's when everyone started asking the big question. Where's the actual proof? Is Jimmy really mixed up with the feds, or is this just 50 pushing buttons for revenge and a little extra clout? And yo, the real twist. How did Jim clap back after being blasted that loud in public?
On the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
So when balling took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing.
The Dipset tension is reaching a breaking point, and this time it's personal, no doubt about it. If you followed Dipset from day one, you already know Cam and Jim's relationship has always been a roller coaster. Brothers one moment, enemies the next. Now all that messy history is bubbling right back to the surface, while 50 keeps tossing gasoline with his reckless, troll-level energy. So what really lit the spark behind this latest round of drama?
Who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03. Not all.
Cam'ron recently had 50 Cent pull up to his podcast, and things got real spicy fast. During their convo, Cam brought up something that's clearly been stuck in his head since way back in 2007. He reminded 50 that during Dipset's nasty feud with G-Unit, Jim Jones randomly popped up at one of 50's concerts. Bold move, right? 50 definitely had some words about that surprise appearance, and it's clear that old moment still hits a nerve today. But Jimmy wasn't just gonna sit there and let them run with that story. He jumped on Justin LeBoy's Respectfully podcast to speak his truth, and he came swinging. He stood firm, saying he had zero regrets about performing with 50 back in the day because he wasn't about to let rap politics mess with his bag. Jimmy made it clear he moves for business, not beef. Then things got even wilder. He snapped on both Cam and 50 for even mentioning his name again. He said they both owe him major favors, claiming he's the one who helped shape Dipset's whole look and attitude. Jimmy went as far as taking credit for building the entire Dipset image, saying he inspired Cam's legendary drip and even made him rock that unforgettable pink fur coat the whole world still remembers. But you already know Cam wasn't letting that slide one bit. He clapped back hard on his and Mace's podcast, and he didn't just respond, he went for the jugular. Cam questioned Jimmy's entire Dipset origin story, straight up calling him a liar about being from Harlem, saying he was never a real day one. The shade was brutal, and the tension just keeps climbing. Cam'ron definitely wasn't letting that slide. No way. He clapped back heavy on his and Mace's podcast, and let's just say he went all the way in on Jim Jones. Cam didn't just respond, he aimed straight for the heart of Jimmy's story, questioning his entire Dipset origin. He called Jimmy out directly, saying he's been lying about being from Harlem and claiming he was never really a day one riding in the trenches like he keeps bragging about. Cam shut down that whole "we grew up together" narrative, calling it pure cap. According to him, all that brotherhood talk is just a made-up storyline that Jimmy keeps trying to sell. And when Jimmy tried to rewrite history, saying he used to watch Mace's son while Cam was getting signed to Diddy's Bad Boy Records, Cam wasn't having any of it. He made it clear Jim didn't pop up until way later, long after Cam had already been putting in serious work in the 90s with Mace, Big L, and his cousin Bloodshed as part of their legendary Harlem crew, Children of the Corn. Then Cam really started clowning. He laughed about how Jimmy once admitted that Mace was the one who actually taught him how to rap, making it sound like Jones was just the little homie trying to sneak his way into the circle. For someone like Jim, who wears his street credibility like armor, that kind of talk had to sting bad. But knowing Jimmy, he wasn't gonna let that disrespect slide, not for a second. After Cam blasted him on the podcast, Jimmy didn't waste a single second clapping back. He let the music do the talking. He dropped a teaser for a remix of his Harlem anthem, still repping his block like never before. And to make it even louder, he pulled in Jules Santana, Vado, Dave East, and 2 certified legends, including Gucci. He didn't have to spell it out. Everyone instantly knew what that was. A slick, calculated response aimed straight at Cam. The streets caught the message right away, and just like that, the tension hit a whole new level.
He wanted that. He was watching them be that, like Mace be that and Cam be that, and looked at, and it was finally, he had one. Mm-hmm. And I just looked, and I knew, I just took the shot, Murder, to see, because I wasn't sure he was going to go for it. Mm-hmm. But I was like, we like Jimmy better than you anyway.
Harlem energy was buzzing, and fans were picking sides like it was the early 2000s all over again. But just when it looked like things might finally cool down, boom, 50 Cent popped back up out of nowhere to stir the pot again. This time, 50 wasn't even talking about music. He went right back to those informant rumors surrounding Jim Jones. He jumped on Instagram, dropped a photo of Jimmy chilling with Jay-Z, Diddy, and Fat Joe, and lit the internet on fire with one savage caption, LOL, individual one calling the shots out here. The post went viral instantly, and once again, 50 had everyone talking. Look, I'm not trying to interrupt your grind, so don't say nothing to me. Individual one hit different, and the shade was loud as hell. Fans peeped right away what 50 was pointing at, a straight throwback to those long whispers that Jim Jones allegedly worked as a federal informant during Tekashi 6ix9ine's wild trial, back when 6ix9ine was testifying against 9 Trey Bloods. A leaked wiretap supposedly caught Jim saying, 6ix9ine ain't a gang member no more, he needs to get violated, and that line had the streets shook. And of course, 50 didn't leave it vague. He posted the transcript for everybody to see, turning rumors into digital receipts. For context, in 2018, Tekashi 6ix9ine faced federal racketeering and firearms charges alongside several 9 Trey members, one of New York's most feared blood sets. Whether it's receipts or tea, this move dragged the whole saga back into the spotlight and had folks debating who's really telling the truth. That whole case flipped the rap game on its head. It exposed deep street ties, pulled big names into federal paperwork, and left the industry in total chaos. Now 50's spinning that same case like it's ammo, doubling down on the idea that Jim Jones might have been working with the feds this whole time. The feds had been cooking up that 9 Trey Bloods case for years, watching every move from the shadows. And when Tekashi 6ix9ine slipped up, he folded fast, turning full-on government witness to shave serious time off his sentence.
Things like that. I think I would love to have a conversation with Nas. I wouldn't know if he knows it, but Nas was one of my all-time favorite rappers coming up and things like that.
I've heard you say that.
Since the barbecue and things like that. Like he really put the whole dope boy rap, crack hustler, get fresh rap into perspective before any.
By September 2019, he was in that courtroom going on what people now call his snitching spree, naming names left and right like it was a roll call. He testified against his former 9 Trey affiliates, Anthony Harv Ellison, Al Jeremiah, Nuke, Mac, and a whole list of others, breaking down every detail of the gang's operations that had the feds rubbing their hands together. But here's where things got wild for Jim Jones. His name got dragged straight into the trial through wiretap evidence.
I never got to see Nas. I never got to sit down and have a conversation with Nas and things like that. I had called you about it and things like that. That was like still one of the people that I never got to have a conversation throughout my history of rap and things.
During 6ix9ine's testimony, the court played tapes where Jimmy was allegedly caught talking with another 9 Trey heavyweight, Jamel Mel Murda Jones. And in those recordings, it sounded like Jimmy was discussing what to do about 6ix9ine after he tried to break away from the crew. According to the Fed's own transcripts, Jim allegedly said, 6ix9ine needs to be violated. That one line exploded across the internet, and the streets instantly took it as a possible green light for a move against the rainbow-haired rapper. The audio spread everywhere, from the hood to the blogs, and it sent shockwaves through the culture for 2 huge reasons. First, it made it look like Jimmy wasn't just loosely tied to the gang. He had real connections with top 9 Trey members. And second, it left everyone wondering the same thing. If Jim was really caught on a federal wiretap allegedly talking about retaliation, why didn't he face any charges? While others got hauled off in cuffs, Jimmy walked free, clean as ever. And that's why the whispers never died down. People are still asking if he somehow made a deal behind the scenes or if the streets got the whole story wrong. Either way, the mystery around Jimmy just keeps growing louder. After that trial wrapped up, fans and critics were demanding answers. Fast! How did Jim Jones end up tied to a federal case this heavy and still walk out clean while top 9 Trey members got slammed with years behind bars? That's when the whispers turned into full-blown fire. People started saying Jimmy might have been playing the role of a confidential informant, cutting quiet deals with the feds to keep his name off the paperwork. And the loudest person pushing that rumor? None other than Wack 100. Wack didn't hold back. He flat out accused Jim of being a federal snitch, claiming the only reason he never got cuffed after that wiretap leak was because he was already cooperating behind closed doors. Wack doubled down everywhere, from clubhouse rooms to podcasts and even live interviews with 6ix9ine, boldly daring Jimmy to show proof he wasn't working with the law. He made it loud, messy, and personal, making sure everyone had something to say about it. But Jimmy wasn't letting that slide, not even for a second. He came firing back, denying every bit of it and calling Wack a straight-up liar, just another clout chaser trying to drag his name through the dirt. Jim made it clear he wasn't feeding into the nonsense. But here's the twist. While Jimmy shut down the informant label quick, he never actually explained why he wasn't arrested after being caught on those wiretaps. That silence? It kept the streets buzzing like crazy. Even now, there's no confirmed proof anywhere that Jim Jones ever acted as an informant. His name never showed up as a cooperating witness, and there's no public record of him testifying or helping law enforcement in any way. Still, people can't ignore the fact that while others from 9 Trey were hit hard, Jimmy somehow skated free, and that's the question that just won't die. 50 Cent clearly struck a nerve, because Jimmy wasted no time clapping back. He fired off shots on social media, calling 50 a liar and dropping a slick photo of himself chilling by the pool with the caption, "Why you keep on lying? LOL." Then he brushed it off completely, adding, "I'm going back to sleep." Free mail matrix too. It's reversed. That post had fans talking nonstop, some laughing, others convinced it was a deflection. But here's the problem. No matter how loud Jim denies those informant rumors, a lot of fans just aren't buying it. The streets have long memories, and until somebody clears up what really went down behind those closed doors, that cloud of suspicion over Jimmy's name isn't going anywhere. At this point, the saga's reached full-blown legend status. 50 Cent, Cam'ron, and Jim Jones have turned what started as old rap beef into one of the most talked-about dramas in hip-hop right now. Every post, every quote, every remix just keeps adding more heat to a story that refuses to cool down. Jim's still standing tall, brushing off the rumors and reminding everyone he's Harlem to the core. He's out here making music, doing shows, and showing off that same confidence that made Dipset an era-defining movement. But the whispers haven't stopped, not even close. Every time 50 throws shade or Wack 100 pops off online, those informant talks rise back up like smoke from a fire that never really burned out. Cam's playing his own game too, cracking jokes on his podcast and acting like he's just calling it how he sees it. But you can tell there's still tension under the surface. These 3 names, 50, Cam, and Jim, are all New York legends. But right now, it's less about music and more about pride, history, and respect. And let's be real, 50 knows exactly what he's doing. He's the king of stirring chaos, posting just enough to make people talk without ever showing all his cards. Every time he drops something about Jimmy, social media goes into a frenzy, comments flying, theories spinning, and fans digging for proof. It's entertainment, but it's also personal, and that mix makes it impossible to look away. Jimmy, though, keeps standing on business, cool, calm, and collected. He's not folding, not explaining, and definitely not apologizing. To him, it's all noise, and he's staying focused on his bag. But whether you believe he's innocent or think there's more to the story, one thing's clear. This drama has kept hip-hop fans locked in for years, and it's not showing signs of ending anytime soon. So now the question is, where does it all go from here? Will 50 keep pressing those buttons until someone finally snaps? Will Cam and Jim ever squash it for real? Or are we watching another classic New York rivalry getting written in real time? Whatever happens next, one thing's for sure. The streets, the blogs, and the fans will be watching every move. If you made it this far, drop your thoughts in the comments. Whose side are you on? Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment to keep this conversation going. The drama might be wild, but the story's far from over.